In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Listen, folks, I'm here to tell you our political system is broken. The two-party system is dead. They have become one and the same.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host. Favorite host.
This is always the killer, the one that just destroys that never Trump argument. Hillary Clinton will fill the Supreme Court with liberals. She'll also appoint federal judges with a liberal bent to them.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Don't let anybody tell you that it's corporations and businesses that create jobs.
Arrogant, sanctimonious, self-righteous, sabotaging Trump.
Everybody's got to be covered. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say, because a lot of times they say, no, the lower 25% they can't afford. I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of, much better than they're taken care of now. The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side.
ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said.
What realized is that the Bill Kristols of the world, the never Trump people, they were just never serious. They never had any kind of ground game. They never had an actual candidate they could pick.
And in a surprising and disturbing move today, the Libertarian vice presidential candidate just agreed that rifles are weapons of mass destruction and people on the terror watch list should not be allowed to purchase guns. So in other words, the party of freedom is liberty for me but not for thee. Go figure.
Compromise where you can. Where you can't, don't. Even if everyone is telling you that something wrong is something right. Even if the whole world is telling you to move. It is your duty to plant yourself like a tree.
All right, folks, happy hump day. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We're coming to you live right now from KLNRradio.com in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City. Just a few minutes past the hour of 10 Central, 11 Eastern, right here. And I do have a guest with me this evening. First of all, I want to give a big, quick shout-out to all the affiliates, whether it's AMFM247.com, SHR Media, Red Nation Rising Radio, the Liberty Channel, iHeartMedia, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FM Player, iTunes, which is the one I usually forget. Yes, we're on iTunes too. At this point, if you can't find the show, it's because you're not looking. By the way, we have an app too. I don't mention this very often, but if you like the show, and I hope you do, but if you're crazy enough to take it with you in your pocket, you have that option. Just go to, it's only available on Android because I have to pay for both and I can only afford one right now. So go to the Google Play Store, put America Off the Rails in quotation marks, download the app, take the show with you wherever you go. You can even, set a reminder through Spreaker if you're listening there, and it will actually send you a message right before we go live, because don't forget, the schedule is changing, coming soon. As of Monday, we will be going to 11 to 2 Eastern, so 10 to 1, 10, 11, 12, hang on, yeah, so 10 to 2 Eastern, or, yes, wait, what was that? No, 11 to 2 Eastern, or 10, I don't know. Anyway, we're starting earlier. We're moving to the daytime. We were going to do 11 to 3 because we're trying to get to the point where we're running another show that currently runs live at 2 o'clock. We're going to slide a little bit further back. So we're going to do, instead of 12 to 3, we're going to do 11 to 2. That's what it was. Eventually, I'll remember what the heck I'm trying to say. So to bail myself out and quit tripping over my own tongue this evening, I do have a guest. He was on with me last week. You may recognize him as Defend Wall Street on Twitter, but you may not, because he normally tells people not to find him there. But he is with me this evening. Good evening, Bill. How are you?
I know how to do math, and it's actually 10 to 1. Just letting you know, that was some impressive George Bush kind of math there.
Hey, at least I didn't say nuclear or nuclear.
We're getting there.
See, I'm an Okie, though, so I grew up hearing the word the way that George Bush said it, so I had to train myself to say it the right way. Well, see, that's the part I never understood. Where did the Texas accent come from? Because he was, like, from New England, but I don't know. Maybe he was around the folks enough that he picked it up. I do know I had a stepbrother who was born in England, so from, like, the age of when he could start talking till about 9, he had a British accent, which was really awkward because he was back in America by then. So it took him a long time to unlearn it. But yeah, so anyway, who knows? Okay, so there was this big thing on NBC and MSNBC where we got to sit down and watch Matt Lauer ask questions of both the people, the jabronis that think they have the cojones to become commander-in-chief. And that's mainly what we're going to be talking about tonight. Since we do have a guest with us, I'm going to let him talk as much as possible because you guys tune in and listen to me talk all the time. So when I have a guest, I prefer they do more talking. So what were your first thoughts? Anything that stood out for you? Which one of them do you think did a better job answering the questions? Just general stuff.
First off, we're all doomed. We're all doomed. Categorically, undeniably, we are all just completely and utterly doomed.
And see, this would be normally where I was playing It's the End of the World as We Know It, but I only have ASCAP protections, not BMI protections, so I can't play that song anymore.
Well, we're totally doomed. What I will say is, I think Mr. Trump did a much better job of talking tonight than Secretary Clinton did. Clinton was just, man, that was bad. I mean, look, I sort of understand why she doesn't do things with the press, right? Because she's basically a pedantic, see you next Tuesday. You know, I mean, she's on a friendly audience, mostly Democrats, mostly NBC people. She's talking to Matt Lauer, who is, a buddy of hers, and he's trying to get her to answer a question, and she's like, yeah, see, I know what you're trying to do. You want me to answer the question a certain way, and but I really want to get to this, and I understand you have time, but I really want to get to the heart of this issue, and I really want to, she's just like being really pedantic, and basically she's just mansplaining to him, basically. Like, no, you're wrong, but this is why I'm right, and you're a moron. And she does that all the time when she talks to the press. I mean, she does it when she talks to anybody, pretty much. It's really no wonder that, Bill has resorted to becoming a chubby chaser, because she is so frigid and she's so mean and she's so pedantic and demeaning, and I just terrible answers. All of them terrible. But the answer that struck me the most was she said that the VA scandal, the Veterans Administration issues, she said that was a terrible thing and it needs to be righted, and, end. But just 6 months ago, she said that it was overblown hype by the Republicans and it was made out to be, something that it really was not. And they were just doing this, for attention or whatever. I don't know. I think Trump did a much better job tonight. He wasn't condescending. He wasn't angry. He wasn't confrontational, which are, his 3 hallmark traits. The only thing that I would say about Donald Trump tonight was that he didn't really answer any questions. He did his normal thing, which is, he sort of dances around questions and it's filled with vagary and no real substance. And he just kind of repeats the question to you, and he just kind of eats up as much time as he can until maybe he thinks that you've forgotten what the question was. And that's fine, I suppose, because he's just learning how to be a bullshit artist like the rest of the rest of the politicians in the world. And I suppose
your inner Democrat was just saying, you almost said just like the rest of the Republicans.
Well, I mean, I said Republicans at first, and that's true, but they're all basically just, nonsense artists. So I don't know. Look, here's the thing. No matter who loses and who wins, Donald Trump is going to win, right? And he's been telling us that since the beginning. If he loses, he is going to do just fine. And that's what nobody's talking about here with this whole thing. And you see it tonight because he doesn't really care about winning. And it's really obvious that he doesn't, because there's nothing at stake for him. Because if he loses, he doesn't care. He just doesn't care. And what people need to realize is that Trump is almost the very definition of a charlatan. And I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton isn't a criminal. See you next Tuesday. But, Trump is basically a charlatan who has appeared out of virtual nowhere. He admits that he helped rig and destroy the political system in this country by politicians, by influence. He's the textbook definition of an influence peddler. And then he comes onto the stage and he's like, but I broke the system and now I'm going to fix it. And that's like sort of what he's doing with everything else, right? Like, he's destroyed the Republican Party pretty much. He's now on his way to destroying Fox News. He's taken Roger Ailes from them. I'm almost positive that he's behind the Andrea Tantaros and Gretchen Carlson suits at Fox. I'm about 1,000% sure that he's responsible for Greta leaving, although Scientology lunatic, so I'm not really sure I really give a damn where she goes. But, look, this is Trump's hallmark thing now. This is what he does. He destroys everything and he leaves crap in his wake. And then he just kind of swoops in and he's like, well, but I'll fix it now. Like, dude, no, that doesn't work. Like, because if you believe that, I've got a hen house I'd like to let, I've got a fox I'd like to let into some of your hen houses. Like, really? So I just, people need to realize that no matter what happens in this election, it doesn't matter. Because like everybody says, lol, nothing matters. Nothing matters in this election, especially in terms of Trump. He's here for rock bottom. If he loses, he'll go start a TV station with his son-in-law and Roger Ailes and Steve Bannon. If he wins, his son-in-law will start the damn TV station with Roger Ailes and Steve Bannon. And it will forever be his Pravda. He'll have we'll have a sitting U.S. president who owns his own TV news station. I mean, just really think about that. And a lot of Trump people don't have any issue with that. And it's frightening, quite frankly. It's really frightening that they don't have an issue with it because they don't see the larger picture. They don't see what this vile, horrendous man is doing. And you can sit there and explain to them. Look, I got into an argument with some guy the other day on Twitter who I don't know how he found me because he doesn't follow me. He's not followed by anybody that I know. And I just said, look, General Michael Flynn is a Trump supporter, but he's also a Russian stooge. And the guy's like, well, Michael Flynn is a patriotic American and he's a general and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, end. But he's a Russian stooge. He's paid by Russia Today and Pravda to go on air and criticize America. Now, I don't, there seems to be a real disconnect in this country now in terms of the right, where like anything that embarrasses Obama suddenly has nothing to do with embarrassing the country. If George W. Bush were president right now, Lindsey Graham, Trump and Lindsey Graham and every Republican in the world would be screaming to have Julian Assange murdered by the CIA or something. But and Sean Hannity would have them on every day screaming for this guy's head. But yesterday, Hannity puts this scumbag on TV for like a half hour. He's a rapist, an alleged rapist. He's an alleged rapist who is such a coward. He fled and hid in a shitty third world country's embassy to avoid prosecution for raping a woman. And now he's got this scumbag on TV, and he's talking about what a great friggin' deed he's doing by embarrassing President Obama. Now, I don't like Obama. I think he's a piece of garbage. But to put a scumbag like this on TV, who 10 years ago was circulating files that Al-Qaeda was using in Iraq to target our armored personnel carriers. You remember like 10 years ago, they had that weakness with the Under Armour on the bottoms of the APCs and the Humvees in Iraq, and Al-Qaeda was making like those IEDs to blow them up by stashing them underneath the vehicles. Well, that came from WikiLeaks. And Hannity wanted that guy murdered over that. But now because Obama's president, I mean, this guy can do anything. I mean, he can go out and rape a couple more Swedish women. Doesn't care. Because we have a very real disconnect on the right here. And it's moral and it's ethical and it's everything wrong about this country now. And it's all Trump. And if you elect him, this is the kind of crap that you're going to get. It's just, the Republican Party is finished. Fox News is finished. Trump is going to swoop in, and he's going to have his own TV station. He's going to rebuild the party with all these lunatics. Like that guy, Bill, what's his name? That moron that said that, that moron that said, oh, look at how Trump is looking at this black lady at the church in Detroit. He wouldn't stand this close to her if he were a racist. Like, really? So, this is what's happening. And I got off kind of a little bit of a tangent, but, there is a real serious disconnect between reality and morality and ethics and everything that's good on the right now. A total disconnect. There isn't any right now. It's really frightening. And it should scare the shit out of people because it's coming. And these people are taking over. They already have.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have at this point. And that's what I keep telling everybody that keeps wanting to throw around the label Republicans, etc. I'm like, look, the Republican Party, as we knew, it's done. It's gone. It's been replaced by these people that are just being driven by nothing but anger and this overwhelming desire to win. I mean, honestly, at this point, the Republicans have become everything they used to say they didn't stand for. They've become a win-at-all-cost party, regardless of the consequences.
It's not even just win at all costs now. It's look, when you can make the kinds of mental gymnastics that these people are doing. Look, I never liked Hannity. I mean, I was a Democrat for 25 years. I never liked Hannity. He's a piece of crap. He always has been. He's a bottom-feeding piece of garbage. He's always been here for rock bottom, just like all these other pundits, like Rush Limbaugh and all these other goof-offs. And you know, he's not alone. You know, there are guys on the left that are like that too. But I don't remember what their names are because I never listen to their shows. But, you know, these people survive in a antagonistic adversarial system. They will do fine. Hannity will do great. Levin will do great. They will all have terrific ratings. Because when Trump is gone, and believe me, he will be gone, and he will disappear, and you will never see him again. When he is gone, his followers will not make the right conclusion from this. They will not draw the correct conclusion. The conclusion they will draw is that the cucks and the Jews and the squishes and the whatever have sabotaged this election, and it's all their fault. They're not going to learn anything from this election. People think that if he loses, this Trumperism will be flushed down the toilet. It won't. It will. Not only will it get larger, but it will get more insane, because they will begin to devolve into conspiracy theories like you have never seen. And the people that will cheerlead them on are Ingram and Coulter and Hannity. Hannity's doing it right now. Did you see the crap that he got into with Jonah Goldberg this morning?
Oh, yeah. I was watching it for hours and kind of jumped in from time to time. I'm still working on a block from Hannity. The funny thing is, a few years ago, I would have given anything to get followed by somebody like Hannity or Limbaugh. Now I'm shooting for the block. It's become an entirely different game. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of reading your crap, but I don't want to be the one to block you, so I'm going to keep pushing till you block me. It hasn't worked yet.
I'm blocked by Eric Bowling, because when he would do these temper tantrums like Hannity does, only his were like lame and they weren't as funny. And I would always tweet at him, "Uh-oh, baby Bowling Trumper tantrum." And at some point, he blocked me, and I don't know what that point was, but it was at some point he blocked me, and I have to say my life is richer for it.
Bowling's pretty quick on the block, though. I know a few people that have been blocked by him, and it usually takes just one particular at where you basically call him out on something in general, and he's just like, "Yep, we're done with you." All right, so
he's a baby.
Well, believe it or not, we're already at the bottom of the hour, so we need to take a really quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about a couple of the worst moments that stood out for me in this NBC meeting. I can't even remember what the hell they called the thing, but the televised event where Hillary and Trump were both continuing.
CIC forum.
Yeah, that's what it was. CIC forum. Can you tell how much attention I paid? I couldn't even remember the name.
You know what's really funny is I'm drunk and I still remember this stuff.
Well, you know. Well, maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm a little too sober. Maybe I'll fix that on the break. All right, folks, we are going to come back and talk some more about the CIC Forum. This is America Off the Rails with my special guest. You may know him on Twitter as Defend Wall Street. His name is Bill. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes. Got to pay some bills. And good evening, Ron. Haven't said hi to you yet. Saw you in the chat room there.
Stay tuned. Things are going to get real interesting. You're listening to the Spark Radio Network.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails Show, coming to you live from KLNRradio.com. Have with me again my guest for the evening, Defend Wall Street, as you know him on Twitter. Bill, since that's his first name, that's what I like to call him when he's on the air. Defend Wall Street's kind of hard to say over and over again, so Bill's much easier. Okay, so what we were talking about before the break, or at least beginning to talk about before the break, were two of the scariest moments for me during the event that we were discussing tonight, and that was the event on NBC where Matt Lauer sat down and asked questions of both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And specifically, there were 2 points that stood out for me and made me realize just how screwed we are no matter which one of these two people gets into the White House. Hillary Clinton basically announced to ISIS that we were never going into on the ground in Iraq again, and we were never going to put boots on the ground in Syria. So basically, she just said, hey, ISIS, Iraq and Syria, yeah, sure, just do whatever you're going to do over there. We'll figure it out with a coalition or something, but our boys aren't really going to go over there, so just go on about your business. And then Trump, when asked a lot of similar questions, because, he's a big supporter of Putin, talks about him all the time. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of long-distance relationship or romance going on. I'm sure there's a bunch of emails going back and forth that we'll find out about at some point later. But the thing with that is he got on the air and started talking about how he thought that Putin was a much better leader than Obama and praised him actually a couple of different times. And I'm sorry, I have an issue with that. I understand that Putin is a very strong figure in the world, and I understand that maybe that's part of what the folks that are looking at Trump have missed from Mr. Mom Jean's female bike riding president for the last 8 years. But Putin is not the guy that we need to be modeling our foreign policy after, and he's also not the guy that the president or possible president needs to say, yeah, I kind of like his style. No, the dude's former KGB. If you think he has anybody's best interest at heart other than finding a way to reignite former Russian glory, then you're sadly mistaken.
I think what's great about Trump is that he's a purveyor of a really, really great new political theology that I sort of find interesting, and it's called Russian exceptionalism. I find that very spooky and somewhat interesting. Now, you mentioned the Hillary Clinton won't commit to a strategy. Well, she commits to a strategy, and it's basically just more of the same. On the reverse side of that coin, when asked about what his strategy to deal with ISIS would be, Trump was like, well, I'm not going to tell you because you shouldn't tell your enemies what your strategy will be. Now, I got to tell you, that is both a brilliant idea and a really stupid one at the same time. It's brilliant because it's true. You don't go on national TV and say, yeah, Matt, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 1,000 troops here. I'm going to put 10,000 here, 5,000 here, and then we're going to hit them from the air. Like, come on, get real. Who does that? But what's so stupid about this is the reason that he's saying that. It's because he doesn't have a strategy. He doesn't have a strategy. So, yes, that's the answer I probably would have given, and he just ultimately gave, which was, look, I'm not going to go on TV and tell you what my strategy for dealing with our enemy is, because then it's not a strategy, is it? Because they know what it is. So, it doesn't work that way. And so for me, I was left somewhat uncomfortable on that, thinking, oh boy, this guy has no friggin' idea what he's going to do. He has no idea. And that's fine. That's fine. Because in my imagination, Pence is actually the real president anyway. And where I get this from is Governor Kasich, or at least his people, said that before they picked Governor Pence to be the nominee, the running mate, they had approached Governor Kasich, and basically Eric Trump had approached Governor Kasich and said, hey, how would you like to be the second, practically first most powerful man in the world? And they gave him this spiel basically saying, look, Dad doesn't really want to do the job and doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So you'd really be the guy pushing all the buttons, but he'd get all the credit. It's kind of like Dick Cheney thing, And to some extent, Kasich was like, yeah, I don't know about that. So assuming A, that strategy is true, and B, that it's presently in play, I don't know. Maybe we should ask Governor Pence what his strategy to deal with ISIS is, because maybe he's the guy who actually knows. I find it fascinating that Ben Carson today pushed back on Trump's birtherism. Why the hell he decided? Yeah, Ben Carson, man, I wish somebody would just take him out and go, look, you had a good run. Now it's time for you to go home and be a doctor or retire or do whatever the hell it is that you do, because you can't speak publicly. You're awful at it. He went on TV yesterday or something, and he was like, yeah, I really don't like that Trump birther thing with Obama saying he's a Muslim born in Kenya. He should really apologize for that. Yeah, no. How about no? Let's not bring that up again. Let's not give that thing any oxygen. Yeah, it's dead. Listen, doctor. Let's not try to resuscitate that patient, okay? Let's not do that. Let's let that one code, okay? That one's dead. It's done. Leave it be.
Yeah. So there is this thing he needs to remember. You know, he took an oath: first, do no harm. He needs to start looking at politics the same way too, because first things first, the dude's been all over the map. I mean, I still don't fully understand why he endorsed Trump with the venom that Trump was spewing his way in the beginning, unless he was promised something or some sort of a position, which, as far as I know, is against policy and kind of against the rules. But going back to the Kasich conversation, it's interesting that you brought that up, because I've talked about that several times, even when I'm just doing the show talking to everybody else without a guest, because that actually floored me when I heard that was going on. And I honestly think that was one of the reasons why Kasich stayed in for as long as he did, was to continue to block for Trump, because I think at some point they had offered him the vice presidential candidate position, and I think at some point he was considering it. But at some point, something had to have changed for him, because not only did he kind of just all of a sudden drop out of the race after he told everybody he was staying in all the way through to Ohio, no matter what, etc., then all of a sudden he just basically decided not even to show up in the convention that was held in his home state. He just wasn't there. So I think a lot of that has to do with things that he knows that we are probably never going to know. What I find is interesting is you find folks, and I don't know if they honestly are who they claim they are, or they do know him as well as they do, but you see people on Twitter all the time with names I don't really recognize talking about how well they know Donald Trump and how dangerous he is. Look, folks, I want everybody to understand that just because I continually talk about Trump doesn't mean that I don't understand that Hillary is just as dangerous for the country. At this point, I think the lesser of two evils argument has become the pick your poison argument, and no matter which one we pick, we're pretty much doomed. And that's why while Bill and I have been having the show, I've been in a very long Twitter discussion all day with somebody, and we've kind of still been carrying it on while we've been broadcasting. And the last thing he said to me, well, if that's truly how you feel, then why don't you go ahead and vote for the easiest candidate to impeach, which would be Trump? And my response back was, okay, so you just admitted to me that you are willingly and knowingly voting for someone that you think either will be or should be impeached, or you wouldn't have said that, and yet somehow I'm being vilified because I won't vote for either one. What has happened to us where standing up for principles is now a bad thing? So when did we all become sheep? When did it all become go along to get along? Pick up a banner and march with it. It doesn't matter, because even if you only agree with 5% of what they say, they're still 5%. Well, if you want to get really technical, there's probably about 5% that I could find that I agree with both of them. But it still doesn't mean that I'm going to vote for either one of them, because I can't do it.
I think that if you were to really, truly ask yourself, who is the lesser of two evils? I have to say, you would probably say that it's Hillary Clinton. I mean, unfortunately. Because the damage that Trump is going to do and has done to the party, to the country, to the people around him, can you imagine how many careers are going to die after this? Can you imagine how many people are going to commit suicide because he's built up this strange-ass little cult of people I mean, this is, people don't realize that this is just monumentally screwed up. Really bad. I mean, I won't talk to people I know who vote for Trump. I was in a bar tonight, and I was talking to I was talking to my cousin tonight, and I don't talk to his mother anymore because she's a Trump fan. And so, we're at the bar, and he's he's kind of a retard. Go along to get along for the rest of his life. I mean, that's how he lives. And mommy told him to vote for Trump, and so he probably will. And we're watching Trump on TV, and he's laughing like he thinks this shit is funny. Like he thinks that this raving lunatic is funny. That, like, this is funny that we're going to get stuck with Hillary Clinton because of him. And I said, this isn't funny. This is the asshole that your mother voted for. This is what you've doomed us to. This or that, I mean, look, voting for Trump because he's not Hillary is like boarding the Lusitania because it's not the Titanic.
End results the same, just the name are different.
Sink.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, just to kind of draw a little more colorful metaphor. Choosing between voting for Hillary or Trump, in my estimation, is like choosing between a crap sandwich or a crap burrito. Either way, no matter which one you think looks a little better, there's still a bunch of crap in the middle, and you're not going to like what you get when you take your first bite. And the thing with it is, going back to, again, the issue where it's possible that should Trump win the election, most likely Pence is going to be running the country. Now, I understand there has been a long-standing position that Dick Cheney ran a lot of the country when Bush 43 was in the White House. The simple fact of the matter is, if that is ever actually proven, that is a direct violation of the Constitution. And the fact that so many people have already been talking about this is going to lead to a point where Trump likely will be impeached, or at least as an attempt to be impeached, because of the fact that they're going to know that most likely the vice president is the one that's pulling the strings. Because it's all over everywhere at this point. Everybody knows it. Everybody that is afraid of Trump actually likes the fact that Pence may be the one pulling the strings. And even the folks that like Trump is like, well, at least he'll be off doing what he does, and Pence will be the one making the major decision so we can keep him away from the nuclear football. I'm like, what? So it's okay to violate the Constitution just because your side won? I mean,
no, you mentioned the nuclear thing, and I want to stop bagging on Trump for a minute. I want to bag on Joe Biden for just a minute here.
Bagging on crazy Uncle Joe for old time's sake. Go ahead.
I love Joe Biden. Go get a shotgun. I don't know if you know this or not, but wherever the president and the vice president go, there is a person who is designated that goes with them who has the nuclear codes with them. I don't. Did you know that, or?
Yes, I know.
Okay. Well, I don't know. A lot of people don't know that. It's kind of an obscure fact. A lot of people don't know that. I'm also doing it for the benefit of the people listening. So wherever the president and the vice president go, there's always a person, a man or a woman, usually a member of the Secret Service or the Defense Department, and they have nuclear codes with them. And this is a fairly obscure fact. Most people don't know it, and it's not a matter of intelligence or something if you don't know it, because I'd say 90% of Americans don't know it. But Joe Biden has frequently pointed out the person in the audience who has the codes. He did it 3 days ago on TV at a campaign stop for Hillary. He pointed out the Secret Service agent who had the briefcase on him with the nuclear codes in it. He physically pointed the guy out by name and pointed at him in the audience. What?
Yeah, that's just... Well,
this is the third time he's done this in like 4 or 5 months.
Well, this is the same guy that actually...
or crazy, or a little bit of both?
I'm going to say C, both A and B. And that is my final answer. But, it doesn't surprise me because let's not forget he was the president or the vice presidential candidate best remembered for the phrase "buy a shotgun." For those of you who may not know, he was giving all kinds of free advice when he was running the second time around through the debates and talking about how, buy a shotgun, point it up in the air, fire off a couple warning shots, you'll be great. Except for the fact that most states have laws against warning shots, so there were people that actually took the vice president's advice and went to jail for reckless discharge of a firearm, which in that particular state where it happened was actually a felony. So good job, Vice President Biden. You gave people advice and they went to jail. I'm surprised nobody sued you for it. Just saying.
No, well, not only that, but it's really bad advice. Now, I don't want to get into a gun nut discussion here, but there's a whole lot of reasons why you shouldn't tell your wife to buy a shotgun either. Not the least of which is the fact that, it's not necessarily a great gun for women. So that was the point of the conversation, besides his insanely ridiculous felony advice. He was trying to make the point that people don't need AR-15s and they don't need handguns. It's just buy a shotgun. That's what he was saying. I mean, the guy is obviously a moron. Because no one... I can't... My biggest fear when Obama was president was that someday we would get stuck with him.
The funny thing is, I know people that are Democrats who are like that. I actually, at this point, wish we would have Biden instead of Obama. I'm like, even I'm looking at them like, are you insane? Biden is nuts.
Interesting. Can we arrange some sort of a trade? I'm just throwing it out there. Could do that.
What's the proposed trade? What are you thinking?
Oh, we'll just trade Trump for him.
I was thinking maybe trade Hillary for him, but
Well, I mean, we've already got 2 Democrats running now. We might as well just choose a real one.
Careful, there are Trumpers listening and you just made their head go all splody. Don't call my candidate a Democrat, he's a Republican.
Oh, my favorite one is he said that he doesn't know the Attorney General of Florida, Pam Bondi. He's never met her, he's never spoken to her, he doesn't know the woman. He did give her a donation, and then, somehow his legal troubles in Florida just disappeared. There was a picture that surfaced yesterday on the internet.
Of them together at a fundraiser?
Of them together at a fundraiser.
But he doesn't know who she is.
Yeah, but he'd never met her before. It was just a fundraiser for the Attorney General of Florida, who happens to be Pam Bondi. But he has no idea who she is.
Yeah,
and then he goes, I wouldn't even know how to buy a politician. I'm like, wait, who's talking about that? We were just saying you didn't know who she was.
So wait, hang on. So
I wouldn't even know anything about that.
Like, so hang on a second. The guy who on the first debate stage basically pointed out that he'd pretty much bought at one point or another everybody standing on that stage just said that he doesn't have any idea how to buy a politician.
Those are his exact words. I wouldn't even know how to buy a politician if I needed one.
And that's the scary thing, folks, is he can say things like this and his base either doesn't catch it or they just don't care.
Can you imagine this man who wants to be the commander-in-chief of our military, went to a military school, thinks that he knows more than the generals, and the only award that he won while he was in military school, can you guess what it was? I bet you'd never guess.
Actually, I probably wouldn't guess. What was it?
It's for neatness. I didn't even know they gave those out in military boarding school. I thought that was like a Boy Scouts thing. Neatness and room cleanliness. Those were the 2 awards that he won in military school.
Nice. But yeah,
not leadership, not courage, not valor, not
For deferments, folks, but he knows more than our generals. The funny thing is he kept kind of trying to double down on that tonight because Lauer kept asking him specifically, do you feel that you know more than our generals? And then he said something that for once I actually have to agree with him on. He did make a point that under Obama, our leadership in the military has basically been decimated. That is one thing that I think there are other countries that have done a much better job than us, because they'll keep the leadership and they'll start cutting the lower rung jobs when they need to make cuts to the military. We do it from the top down for some reason. I never have thought that was a good idea, because you're getting rid of the leadership and you're keeping in the people that can basically be really quickly retrained. And it's not like these people don't have the ability at that point to go find jobs elsewhere, and at least at that point they're at least able to still be productive. Some of these generals were still going to be paying retirement salaries for the rest of their lives in hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Michael Flynn, who goes to Russia and criticizes the military for a half hour on Russia Today.
Yeah, well.
And we're still paying his retirement.
Yeah, that's another thing that I honestly think we need to change. I think, honestly, the only way that we're ever going to fix some of the stuff that we need to fix in Congress is to get rid of their salaries, or at least get them to the point where there is something that is contingent on job performance to determine whether or not they get the full benefit of their salary as outlined in the paperwork that they currently have. I don't see any reason why we can't pay them a stipend throughout the year, and then once we can determine whether or not they've actually done their jobs, then we can take a vote as to whether or not they get the remainder of their salary for the following year. And then the whole process starts over. Because at least that way there's something that we can do to not only hold them accountable, but put their feet to the fire to actually accomplish things while they're in there. Now, some of the things that both sides talk to us about trying to accomplish are nearly impossible. There's not going to be any way to defund Planned Parenthood overnight, no matter how many times the Republicans try to sneak stuff in there about it, or vice versa, when the Democrats are trying to sneak things into the bills that they think are important. But we could find ways to hold them accountable and actually make them have to work instead of... Or go back to the way it was originally intended. These folks were only supposed to be in D.C. for about a month. The rest of the time they were supposed to be working in their districts and spending time with their constituents. And then they would come in for the votes and they would leave. And that was pretty much what it was. Why do we have to have all these golden ticket parachute clauses and freaking gold ticket health care and retirement plans for hundred some odd $1,000 a year when these people are already millionaires? Why do they need our tax money?
I don't know. It's really fascinating. It's actually really interesting. A lot of people would just absolutely die if they knew all the perks that you get from being a senator. You know, they get free haircuts, they get free food, they get free clothes, all kinds of stuff. In fact, until 1993, they got free cars too. Did you know that?
Actually, I hadn't heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Until I think it was 93. They used to actually get a free car. They all got free cars. They had up until the early mid 2000s, they all had free phones. They bought them all Blackberries. No, I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. You know, to say that these clowns should be making $200,000 a year. I can't. It's unbelievable to me. It's absolutely unbelievable.
All right, sir. Well, believe it or not, we are officially out of time already. As we did last time you were on with us, why don't you remind folks where it is they can interact with you should they choose to do so? Or you can always do your patented "Don't Find Me."
Should they choose to? At Defend Wall Street on Twitter.
I used to love the way you always ended the show with Leslie, because she'd always be like, well, tell folks where they can find you, Bill. And you're like, don't find me.
Do me a favor, don't find me.
All right, and I, of course, am Rick Robinson. You can find me on Twitter at AOTR_host. You can shoot the Facebook page a like. America is Coming Off the Rails. You can find my professional Facebook page and send it a friend's request. That's Rowdy Ricky Robinson. We'll talk, we'll chat, we'll hang out. No, you don't get my personal unless I actually know you, but that's another story for another day. Or if you're old school like me and you like writing emails, you can have one of two options. Ricky at thesparkradionetwork.com or Rick at KLNRradio.com. Now, if you haven't noticed, or maybe it's your first time here, this is a brand new site for us. It's been running now for about 2 months. Put a lot of work into it. Hope you guys are liking some of the stuff we're doing. We've got some new stuff coming. We got some schedule changes in the works, some other things. We'll keep you apprised as we go. You may notice this one's a little bit different than the last one. We are transitioning to become fully paid by advertisers, sponsors, etc., but we're still making that transition. So if you like what we do here, you'll notice that each page has a donate link. I don't care if it's 50 cents. I don't care if it's $5. I don't care if it's $5,000. If you like what we're doing, click a button, send us a little bit of money, show us you love us. That's all we want to know. And on that note, folks, we are out. Up next on our home station, KLRNradio.com, we have the Rhino Report. If you're listening to us elsewhere, check the local listings and stay tuned. I'm sure they've got great stuff going on everywhere the show is played, of course, because they play me, so why wouldn't they? Just kidding. On that note, folks, I'm out. You guys have a great night. It is hump day. We're about halfway through the week. Buckle up. We're getting closer to Saturday. Take care.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.